Welcome to Modern Home Masterminds with Bespoke Brokers. I'm Shauna Glazier, designated broker and owner.
And I'm Brittany Williamson, associate broker. Shauna and I are Bespoke Real Estate, but we're also your guides to modern luxury across the entire state of Arizona.
Each week, we chat with masterminds shaping the modern spaces. Do you want to get a behind-the-scenes look at your design, builds, teams, processes? Well, open communication and teamwork will lead you to a successful project.
From architects to builders, designers, and more, let's explore the art of modern living together.
All right, welcome back. Have you ever wondered how an architect's childhood and cultural roots could shape their design philosophy? Today's guest, Amit
Upadhye
is going to share with us just how his upbringing made him the architect he is today.
Right. Amit grew up in India, surrounded by the rich architectural heritage that influenced his approach to modern design. Inspired by legends like Kahn and Corbusier, Amit eventually moved to the U.S. to study, practice, and eventually teach architecture. As you will see, his designs seamlessly blend timeless principles with modern innovation, which in turn seemingly dissolve the boundaries between the built environment and the natural world.
All right. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, we are excited
Delighted
to chat with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with, can you share with our listeners how growing up in India influenced your path into architecture?
Certainly. I think that plays a huge role in my background and upbringing. Indian civilization, it's probably one of the oldest living civilization on the planet, as we know. And it has been ruled by many. It has been, looted by many as well. But it also influenced a lot. It left footprints on the landscape of India, right? So growing up that way was in this dense and very multicultural, because all these Europeans, when they came, they brought in a lot of their culture into India. That's how I speak English today, right? And of course, the Indian architecture has been around for thousands of years. I always talk about it. I even take tours down there. In 2007 with Eddie Jones, we went to this tour of India and we discovered Indian architecture through that. And I showed them what it meant to me growing up in India and being influenced by the ancient as well as the modern times, because during the modern times, Corbusier and Kahn and Charles Ray Eames, they built in my city where I grew up in Ahmedabad. So it was very evident for me that, architecture was the path for me. Growing up in Ahmedabad, which is the only city in the world which has more than 4 buildings by the master architects. Yeah. Wow. So I was surrounded by that, right? I was meeting people but until school ended, I wasn't aware of architecture much. I was just going to museum designed by Corbusier. I was going to a building designed by Kahn, but I didn't know, And it left a imprint in my psyche. And when my father said that you should probably consider architecture, I'm like, wow, what is that? So certainly it came back. And then my mom's house played a big role in my upbringing as well, because she comes from a kind of a historic family during the medieval times. Mm-hmm. There's a huge fort called Purandar, which derives her last name called Purandare, And she grew up.
We're going to show a few photos of her.
And she grew up in this fortress, which is amazing. It has this basalt stone dressed with what you may call it, like brickwork on top of that with, you can see this all basalt rock. I mean, look at this. You can see how that's my mom's house, yes, with gun slots. I mean, she's a military family, right? Mm-hmm. And so her ancestors were warriors.
This right here.
Yes, and that's the temple. That's a temple that actually is at the confluence of 2 rivers. And this is my childhood growing up. This is my grandmother would go here every day to worship in this temple, So it has this tremendous, influence at the psyche of my growing up. Like, what is architecture? And then when I think about it, I look at these monumental memories in my head. Mm-hmm. And, seeing that cyclopean masonry out there, which is which is so tight in its composition, and the way the light hits it in the evening, in the morning, and the tall doors where an elephant with the king sitting on top of that could actually ride through without even bending the flag, you know? So those are the kind of things that I grew up with. And it's not a coincidence that I became an architect, you know? So that's my upbringing.
It's so interesting hearing some of this culture just coming from, I mean, I have to plug my girlfriend's wedding that I just got done with, a very large traditional Indian wedding.
Yes.
And just like even the elephant and the barat and how the groom was supposed to come in on, and just I don't know, it's good timing to have you on the show just coming out of that traditional wedding.
And when you see 1,000-year-old temple built out of one material, 1,000-year-old living fort city just entirely made out of one material, just sandstone, right? It has a huge effect on you. And when the sun on an equinox day rises exactly on the axis of that temple and goes straight into the inner sanctum where the idol was, it was looted again during the Mughal period. Idol had a crown with a diamond on it, and the first rays of the sun would come and hit that diamond. And the whole inner sanctum would glow up. So just to think about that, how it would have been in that time. And so when you see some of my work now, it has tremendous influence. So I take these moments from the history and try to bring them and make them more relevant today, and how architecture could get a deeper meaning. It's not just about building 3D buildings, right?
Yes.
It has to have the fourth dimension in it that gives you a visceral reaction of some kind, right?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it definitely kind of harkens back to your lineage under Louis Kahn, correct?
Yes.
So we have met with so many architects, and we talked to you about this on our pre-show call, that are in that Frank Lloyd Wright lineage, right? That's very popular in the Valley here.
That's right.
But you are from a different but still as iconic and impressive lineage with Louis Kahn. So if you could talk a little bit about that, because I feel like that was very important to him as well.
Yes. So I have 1 degree of separation from Louis Kahn. So my mentor, actually, Anant Raje, he was a professor. He was a great educator in the US as well as in India. He built the Louis Kahn complex, which is called the Indian Institute of Management. And during the British rule and just after the independence, Ahmedabad, where I grew up, was a very affluent city. It was the Manchester of India, where there were all these mill owners. There were over 90 or 100 mills, textile mills. And there was a concentration of wealth there. So when Corbusier came to build Chandigarh, he was invited by the first Prime Minister of India, Nehru. And Corbusier, because of his Chandigarh development up north near Delhi, he also was getting commissions to do all these private stuff, right? So he was hired by the Mill Owners Association to build a Mill Owners Association headquarters, which is called the Atma, which is Ahmedabad Textile Mills and Owners Association. And that building just basically rocked the Ahmedabad architecture scene, right? So that suddenly, and then he got 2 houses there, he's got a museum there. And then what happened was Gira Sarabhai, she was trained under Kahn at Yale, and she returned back to Ahmedabad. And then through Ford Foundation, they invited Charles Henry Ames to build the National Institute of Design, which is in Ahmedabad as well. And eventually they invited, because they were looking at Yale and Kahn's work at Yale's complex, and they invited Kahn to come to Ahmedabad and build the Indian Institute of Management. And so though she was involved in that, and my mentor, who was teaching at NID, Institute of Design, Kahn asked him to join the team. And so he went to Philadelphia, worked with him. So IIM originally was a Moshe Safdie project until Habitat happened in 1967. And then when Moshe left, that project came to my mentor. And then my mentor was transferred to Ahmedabad office. He set up the site office there. So I worked in that complex with him to doing additions to that complex, like the Ravi Mathai complex. It's an auditorium building. and administrative offices and stuff. So Kahn, I was breathing Kahn every day. I was looking at Kahn's work every day. And so Kahn is something special to me, and to many people also because of his integrity. He displayed immense integrity in his work and honesty of his construction and honesty of his expression. And the facade was never, ever designed. It always was an outwardly expression of the form and the plan and the extrusion of the plan. And geometry, the sacred geometries, played huge role in his work. And you can see that some of that somehow trickled down into my work as well. And I've used that at Essence of the Desert and also the bars and bridges.
Yeah, I would say the way you just described Kahn is maybe how we could describe you in a sense. So you can tell that he's your mentor, was your mentor.
Yeah, well, yes, I would indirectly, yes, I would say that.
Yeah.
And what happened was Kahn, whenever my mentor used to bring up Kahn in the office where I used to work, right? I could see a twinkle, a glitter in his eyes. And he was privy to something that he was seeing in his mind's eye that we were not seeing, but his face would glow up. And we were like, oh my God, what would it be like to be with this guy, right? So I set out on a path to find my own Kahn. And that's what brings me to the United States, because that's how it was all about. So Kahn always has been with me. Whenever I pick up a pencil, I think about how would Kahn do it, so.
You mentioned you've been teaching at ASU, is it 27 years?
I started in 2002, so about 23, 24 years now. I've been an adjunct faculty, and I was working on Tempe Center for the Arts as a part of the design team. And I was going there for reviews and stuff, and then Michael Underhill, he was the interim dean at the time, and he asked me if I was interested in teaching. And then he landed up hiring me to start teaching at first year and second year, and then I taught at third year. And then I never taught fourth year, but then suddenly fifth year became like a platform for me to teach graduate school. And
such a cool building. Have you been to the Art Center?
I haven't.
You haven't? You know, have you seen
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
so again,
Such a
Barton
landmark in
Myers,
Sabina.
it's a small world.
Yeah, it's such an interesting story too. We know that you're extremely passionate about your profession. Would you share a little bit about like your core values and what architecture means to you?
Wow.
Is that a good one?
That's a deep one. So to me, architecture has always been a noble profession. It is to be taken very seriously. I've never used architecture to sort of make the four-letter word cash. I've always put architecture before the contracts and the money and all that part. And so I've succeeded sometimes. I have not succeeded sometimes. But for me, the values that trickle down from Kahn to my mentor to me have always stayed with me. I would say honesty has always been honesty of expression. What I meant is like you actually don't hide anything. My work, if you see, you'll see it is what it is. I'll never hide things from you to show something, but they're behaving something differently. In fact, the way I do things is materiality, it transcends its own typical functions. That's my goal, because then the material becomes immaterial. Like Kahn once said that it did not take finest of the inks to write the Magna Carta. You don't need expensive materials to create architecture. Have always been my principles. So I work with basic materials like block and concrete and steel and glass. It's just a very classic material palette. And then the sun becomes very important because I come from sun worshipping culture from India. And therefore, this sun temple that I was talking about, it's the sun temple that the alignment happens with the axis of equinoxes, right? So the sun is, to me, is the most influencing agent, I would say, that is a former to form of architecture, former and informer of architecture. It informs you, it tells you, it's constantly telling you what to do. We just don't listen.
Very true.
We just ignore it, and we try to put these things out there as though it doesn't belong, or we belong here because of the sun. Is in my culture we call him the grandfather. The earth is the daughter of the sun. And that's how much respect I have for the sun. So everything I do is all about the sun. It's always
Do we
been.
have a photo of the temple that you're talking about?
Yes,
I think we showed
it's
it.
in it's in temples, Modera temple. So that's the temple. I actually went there by surprise. I was invited by an archaeologist a year before, and then I kept that in my mind. And when I was at IIM, I took a day off and went there the previous night. Decided to sleep in there the previous night because I have to be there. The sun rises. It only happens.
That's funny.
So I took a friend along with me to just be not alone in that ruin. Look at that. That's the sun alignment on the equinox. And it fascinated me. And I also come from the yoga culture. I'm a yoga teacher myself. And so sun and the yoga is a very integrated system. I don't know if you have ever studied that, but there are sun salutations. And so when this sun rose, I actually did my 12 sun salutations in this temple back in 1989.
Wow.
So it is integral part of me, as that. So when I say sun, we always hear about people having consultants on projects. I always say that sun is also a consultant. I always consult the sun to tell me what to do, because every site is different. Every positioning of the sun, because of sphere, it's a spherical earth. So every time the sun hits it, it's in a different way. So, and now with computers, it's very easy to find out what the sun is doing. And then you respect that, the way the sun, and then sometimes you block it. Sometimes you invite him inside. And sometimes you say, okay, you stay out there. I don't need you here. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. I do. And I think it's such an important thing out here, especially in the desert.
Yes.
A lot of people don't pay attention to the sun, or they block it out too much.
Correct.
Is what we found.
Right.
Correct.
And they
Or
also
exposed
block
too
out
much.
other things when they block out.
That's right.
The orientation of a site and your house is very important.
Yes. So that's something I always have that in the back of mind. And this is what I like to teach also the students, because they are constantly being bombarded with the propaganda about the architecture and social media and all of that, what it wants to be. And they look at these glossy images. I'm like, they try to do that. I'm always questioning it. Like when I'm teaching at ASU, like, what does that building mean to me? So one day we did an exercise. We took the most famous buildings by the masters. And we said, study them first, okay? Then let's bring them to the desert and see how they fail or succeed. See what the sun does to them. And because the same building is successful elsewhere, doesn't mean it's going to succeed in the desert in this harsh 120 degrees. So then how do you modify it? How do you adapt it to the desert, right? And they learned a lot out of that exercise. Like, oh my God, this sun is going to beat on this glass and it's going to increase the, HVAC costs and all of that. So we did all this exercise and they learned where to block it, where to invite it, and then I'm interested in the pragmatics and the poetics of the sun at the same time. But I'm also generating the entire electricity of this house using the pragmatics of the sun, besides the poetics of the sun, right? So there is this always balance between the pragmatics and the poetics in my work. So there's a yin and yang going on. Yeah.
So if you want to talk about the one you were just referencing,
Essence of the Desert.
Essence of the Desert, summers, they all celebrate sun, all of them. So I put them there. ET projects celebrate something really amazing.
Essence of the Desert is a little.
Yeah, Essence of the
go.
Desert. Yeah. So at this particular project called Essence of the Desert, I named it as such because it talks about the desert. It talks about the inspiration of me hiking up in the Sonoran Desert at Pinnacle Peak. And I saw these boulders leaning on each other. And I saw that, and I saw this life thriving in the crevices of these boulders. And then suddenly I'm like, how do I abstract that into a house? How do I take this as an essence to see how the life can thrive for my client in the shadow of these abstract boulders? So I came back and I took one of these boulders in my mind's hand and I pressed it like a plasticine, right? Like a mold. And it became a wall. And I put that wall first on the west side, and it gave me this tremendous shadow to the east. And I'm like, okay. And then the sun instantly came to my mind and said, you're turning your back towards the beautiful sunsets by doing this. And I was like, I got to do something for the sun in the valley of the sun, right? So I made a notch in that wall, and I said, there's something got to happen here, right? Phenomenologically, right? So I invited the sky to be part of that notch, and the sky didn't come alone. It brought the sun along with it, right? And so then I said to sun, why don't you set in that slot on a particular day? And that just started this movements in my head. And I was talking to a student of mine at ASU who was an astronomy minor. And he said, yes, we can do this. We can allow the sun to set in that slot exactly on their particular day, particular time, that every time you see it, you think about it, gives you this visceral reaction. And that's
true celebration.
That's what I say, that architecture needs to go beyond the 3 dimensions.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That is definitely a 4th dimension that I think a lot of people don't even consider.
Right. So Kahn very, very poetically says in one of his talks that architecture comes from the unmeasurable or immeasurable into the measurable means of materiality, and then it delivers a immeasurable experience.
Yeah, which you definitely did.
Right. So to me, to me, I always say that it has to give that subliminal experience. Otherwise, it's not architecture. It's just a building,
Let's look at the Bars and Bridges project. So
Yes.
Brittany and I had a chance to visit you on this site a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we need to go back. This is a project
But
you have
before you go there,
Sure, yes.
can we talk about the ET project real quick? Because there I'm not using the sun.
ET project, I see it right there.
Yeah, I won the AIA award last year.
And these, for our listeners that aren't joining us on video, these projects, the ET and the Essence, was it Essence of the Desert? Are they on your website?
Yes, they're all on my website.
Okay.
Yes, they're all on my website. So this project came to me through Eddie Jones, actually. He did the original house, and he moonlighted on it way back when, 40 years ago. And then when addition to that house came up, he recommended me to the client saying that Amit will do a good job, so why don't you give him a chance? So, and she's hired by NASA as a consultant, and she's an ASU professor. Her husband is a mathematician who teaches math all over the world. And he's from Australia, she's from the US. And she's also collaborating with SpaceX to launch a probe to the asteroid belt. So that probe is launched in 2023. It's on the way. It's going to take 6 years to reach the asteroid belt. So when I heard all this, it gave me this poetic thought about like, oh my God. So it's NASA, it's SpaceX, it's this asteroid belts. And I've always been fascinated by astronomy as growing up as a kid in India, because Indian astronomy is always very famous. And so I said, I got to do something about that. So when I was thinking and said, it brought thoughts like launching, it brought thoughts like landing, it thoughts like asteroids, asteroids falling on the planet and stuff, right? So what I did was, when I did this particular oriel window and the window that you see on the left side, that window, I tilted it at an exactly angle of the 23.5 degrees that points to the North Star.
Oh.
So this is the bathroom, and the North Star is aligned to that window. And I always say that when you see the star, that means the light is coming to you, right? So some of that North Star light, the Polaris, is going to come to you in this shower when you're showering, in everyday experience of you being there, and that bench that is glowing, it is the natural sunlight. It is not artificial light. It's the sun hitting it from outside every morning.
Really?
And so it's an abstract idea of converting the spherical sun into a cuboid, if you will. And the Oriel window over there, it actually brings different times of the day. It brings light, so it brings in morning sun. It brings in the setting sun inside, yet it gives privacy. And then at the backyard, I have a guest house, which is an element which is completely alien to the architecture, right? It's about the alien, about some asteroid, which is all metal. Asteroids are all metal, right? So this metal piece actually landed in their backyard, as an alien object to the architecture, right?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. It's like completely different than what Eddie has done. And so it actually has a concrete wall to the south, which takes all the brunt of the sun. So this is where I block the sun, right? And then the back side of that wall has 7 holes of different 7 colors of abstract flowers of the desert. Yes, these 7 holes. Now, if you look at this, those 7 holes are arranged in the Big Dipper fashion. Do you see it? And that Big Dipper is anchored to the Polaris out there. So this is how I'm tying the 2 objects, the house and the guest house, as one project using the Polaris.
You're just telling us it's a story. It's their life story through the architecture.
Yes, and then these holes are actually abstract Arizona wildflowers, which are going to attract birds to roost in these holes. So this wall doesn't become a demising wall. It becomes a living membrane. Okay. Where the birds are going to roost, and you can see them from inside.
You can see them?
You can see.
How big are the holes?
They're 1 foot deep.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, those holes, yes. So when you're showering, there's a hole in there that you can actually see a gecko inside, or you could see a spider or another bird sitting there. Who knows, right?
Shauna might have a heart attack if she sees a spider.
Okay, so that's the inside of it.
That's the inside of the shower.
Translucent.
Yes. That's the inside of the shower.
That is really neat.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for sharing that project with us.
Yes. So and this is recently noticed by the European Cultural Center. They've invited me to Venice to exhibit my work for 6 months. Yeah, so that starts in May till November of this year.
Just the shadow that it's casting.
Yes, and that shadow has a story too. It is coming from that tree, which is 80 years old. I call it the saint, because when you go under that tree, you literally feel there is a sense of shelter. And there is this connection, like a deep, deep connection with the tree, because I grew up as a, how do I say, with my garden, my grandfather's garden. I used to always roll out of my bed and go to the garden first before even brushing my teeth. So I have connection with the tree. Yeah. So I said, this tree has to come into this house somehow. And so it comes through this shadow and casts this beautiful thing inside.
And are your clients, your homeowners, and then we got to get to bars and bridges because we don't have too much time, but I'm just curious on these past 2 projects, are your clients, they let you just run with the ideas? I mean, are they loving the ideas that you're coming with, or do you have to pitch it to them like, hey, we're going to have holes in the shower and you might see birds? I mean, you don't pitch it that way. It's the big
so
and the astrology.
Every client has a need of some kind, right? And I think an architect's job is to go beyond the need. You have to transcend the need to give the client way more than what they would expect in a poetical sense, right? In a phenomenological sense. And these are little gifts I give to the clients, and they absolutely love them. And they still discover things about the house, right? So yes, I do get a free rein sometimes, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a really tight budget to work with, but I go with It didn't take finest of the inks to write the Magna Carta. So the budget doesn't really matter to create architecture because I work with basic materials.
And this is why I love this podcast, is talking to different architects so our listeners get to know different styles and who do they match with. And so that's really interesting.
Right.
And I wonder with Bars and Bridges, this is a project that we were on site with you, and you're working with a developer on this one. So do you have more free range on this one? And let's dive in and look at some photos.
So Bars and Bridges has it's probably the most longing project I ever did. I have a 14-year longing on this job because I designed this in 2007 when I left construction zone. And I left that cushy job, and then the economy crashed on me when I was designing this job, right? We had full approval. We were about to break ground, and the client pulled the plug on me. And so I went to Singapore. I worked with Morphosis. I came back after 5 years, and then I come back, and I started calling my old clients, and I called him as well. And he said, nope, I'm not going to build this, but I'm going to put it on sale with your design on it. So a developer from Dubai came and bought that house design, and he saw that, and he was like, this is beautiful, let's go build it. That's how it happened. And then, so now I'm actually building it. Even the ET project, we built it. We are a design build office on that one too. So we learned a lot through that. We learned a lot through construction zone experience. And so one of my ASU students has joined me now as a contractor, and I'm the architect, and we're building this job out there. But that's the story. But the story of this project is that it's not only a house, but it also was on a very difficult site. It has 3 washes running through it. It's a low-lying site. It has fire station next to it. It has statum noise, all kinds of, and all the other houses from the mountains are looking down.
This is not good for resale.
So it has all those things happening to the project, and yet we said, we're going to build this and now it is turning out like people from the mountains are coming down and interviewing me. They're like, what are you doing here? And I got few projects out of them to renovate their homes.
Yeah. But not only that, you are really doing a good job of blocking the other houses and blocking the street and really making it a courtyard house and celebrating where the good views are. Blocking the noise. I wonder when, we built the house right next to it, that Eddie Jones was the architect in construction zone, was the builder. I wonder, I didn't know that you had worked on that lot and had drawings. I didn't even know you when we built that house.
That's right.
I mean, what did you have any emotions during that when you saw the Eddie Jones house going up? Or did it make it more special for you knowing that you had plans on the lot?
I actually welcomed it because I would rather have a house designed by Eddie next to me me standing next to him and built by construction zone. I mean, of course, I'm actually quite excited about it, and it elevates the game, really for everybody, right? And so the house here has 2 components. It is actually divided. So the concept of that is coming from the flash floods of the Sonoran Desert. When I saw the wash, my first reaction was to go and touch the water, right? So I wanted to keep that experience of being close to the nature, close to the water. And yes, we actually straddled the house as a bridge across, because I hike a lot. I see these trees fallen, sometimes when you're hiking up north and you see the tree fallen across and you tiptoe on the tree and across the wash you go and you keep hiking. That experience, I wanted to see if I can build a living room, which actually is on the wash with this glass floor on it. So you actually see the wash running through when it rains up there on the mountains. So the concept was that it brings this driftwood down there and strews the landscape with all this driftwood. And I took that concept and I'm like, okay, how can that become a house? How can I build something that a client can enjoy? And yes, it is, you go down there, you sit on the wash, you enjoy the courtyard, you enjoy the fireplace, you enjoy this, and I block the sun when I don't need it from the south side. And I create this interstitial space where the material heats up It creates the stack effect. It expels all the hot air, and it takes the cool air from the wash and circulates it up. So it reduces my HVAC bills.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on, and I'm always interested in a detail. Like what is that detail? Detail doesn't mean it's like a detail of a door or a window. To me, detail has no scale. Earth is a detail of the solar system, right?
True.
And the solar system is a detail of the Milky Way galaxy. So why not think it big? So detail becomes sort of a holistic thinking about everything down to the T, right? From the concept to all that last screw that you're going to drill into that window system. Everything gets chosen and dialed.
Love it.
I've been excited to see this project.
I know. And I drive by it almost. I love watching it come out of the ground. So we will keep stopping by and look forward to
You're more than welcome anytime. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on our show.
Absolutely. It was a delight to be here. Yeah.
So do you want to do some quick rapid fire questions?
Yes.
One word or one sentence. That's the parameters for that.
Okay. All right. What's the first thing you notice when you enter a building?
Whether it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Good one. Sketching by hand or designing with software?
Sorry? Sarah?
Sketching by hand or designing with software?
Both.
Both. That's one word. Okay. Glass walls or exposed concrete?
Both. Depending on where it is.
If you could time travel to witness the construction of any historical structure, what would it be?
An ancient temple. Yeah.
And if you weren't an architect, what would you be doing?
I would be a musician because I'm a musician. I'm a drummer.
Oh.
And I play drums. I have a band that I belong to here. And
Plug it. What's the name?
It's called Antarnad.
Antarnad?
Okay. That means it's a space between the two musical notes. It's a silence in between. That's what it means. Or it's the inner sound, inner silence. Yeah.
Didn't we have another architect that said he was a drummer? Wasn't Brent Kendall? Was it Brent Kendall?
Yeah, Brent's the drummer. Did you know that?
No wonder. Yes.
I think so.
No wonder we get along.
Right?
You guys should drum out together.
Yeah. Well, Amit, thank you so much for coming on our show. We are going to link all of your contact information in the show notes, but if you could tell people where they could find you, maybe your website.
So I've pursued two things in life, architecture and yoga. So my website is architecture.yoga.
I love it.
And my phone number, if you want, it's on the website, or you can drop me a note from there and I'll reach out.
Okay.
Thank you.
It reminds me of your golf yogi.
I know. My husband is the golf yogi.
Golf. That's it for today's episode of Modern Home Mastermind. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, rate, and subscribe.
And thanks to our guest for sharing his insights with us, and to you for learning about everything modern with us.
And if you're ready to take the next step in your real estate journey, please reach out to us at Bespoke Real Estate. And until next time, keep living, loving everything modern.